striving would be losing. One on the right, one on our side. The man of God's own choosing. Dost ask who that may be? Christ Jesus, it is He. Lord's above His name, from age to age the same, and He must win the battle. And though this world with devils filled should threaten to undo us, we will not fear, for God hath willed His truth to trust to us. The Prince of Darkness scream, we tremble not for Him. His rage we can endure, for lo, His doom is sure. While little one shall fail Him, that word above all earthly powers, no thanks to them or by death. The Spirit and the gift arise through Him who with us sideth. Let goods and kindred go, this mortal life also. The body they may kill, God's truth abideth still. His kingdom is forever.
Amen. Thank you for that wonderful singing. I will welcome Gideon Ongera to take us to the next session. Gideon, if you can hear me.
Yes, I'm getting you, Kristen. Saying it's wonderful to have all of us here for this wonderful week. And the main thing that we are telling each and every one of us is that wellness is wealth. Yeah, and today we are learning about cancer and learn how is this be able to overcome it, and how can we be able to help our fellow students, our family members to overcome cancer in their lifestyle. Today's speaker is Dr. Eddie Ramirez. Dr. Eddie Ramirez is a well-researched lifestyle medicine practitioner who loves his work and who has done a lot of research in this area of lifestyle medicine. In fact, he's one of the author of the lifestyle medicine handbook for the Americans, and is one of the few registered medicine practitioners in the US of research. Currently, is the director for love to welcome in Kenya history severally, and it's wonderful to have him, and we look up to him. I love to be like him when I grow up. So feel so much welcome, Dr. Eddie. So we shall share prayer and then welcome him to share with us. Let's pray. And Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful session that you've given unto us. As we come before you, dear Lord, to learn of how to overcome cancer, may you be with us and may you use our speaker, Dr. Eddie, to guide. Amen. Welcome so much, Dr. Eddie. Karibu sana.
Karibu, karibu. Habari asubuhi. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Greetings from America. Interesting program today. We're going to be talking about cancer. And we have a very something that worries many people. We have a world that has a tremendous increase in cancer. In fact, if you see many the statistics people are going to realize that this is something that we can do something about, and that's what we're going to, in order to focus today. What are those practical steps, screens that we can do? I'm going to go to the program, and I'm going to share here my screen. Okay, so then we're going to be selecting this one here. Very good. So I do a lot of research, and we have been doing research on size, on the issues that eating fish has, on toxicology, also the importance of things with angina. They're able to start increasing the amount of exercise, secondary to the fact that they're able to improve autoimmune conditions, improve the effect that tobacco has on mental health, how patients with asthma, as they change their lifestyle, they improve. Even some simple remedies like lavender oil, how this has a very positive effect on mental health, how sexual abuse has an effect on the risk of addictions later on, how people that are involved in sexual relationships outside of the context of marriage have problems with emotional intelligence, how that type of behavior actually affects very much your mental health, the importance of regularity. The Lord even has given me the opportunity to present at Harvard University some of the research, such as this one. We were talking about how the Adventist perspective weight, how doing things that go against your cancer. With this, a resource that is for you guys. This is going to be your handout. So if you go to this website, either by the QR code or by typing this website, healthwise.store, you're going to get to this page. If you're using a computer, a laptop, the screen is going to look like this. If you're using a cell phone or a tablet, on the top left, there's going to be three lines. You click there, then the menu that is appearing there will appear. Then you select free downloads, and you can actually download a few of the chapters of my book, Pandemic Busters, for free, including some of that is in Swahili. Okay, so and feel free to tell others about it. And let me share with you this information from the very beginning. So all my research, the one I was telling you, and many, many more research projects are found on that ResearchGate page. Just put Francisco Ramirez ResearchGate. You should be able to get there. Also, there's a very active Twitter account, Eddie RDMD, as well as a YouTube page. And if you want to come and travel with me around the world, there's an Instagram page. I mean, just next week, I'm going to be, God willing, in Switzerland, Italy, and Canada. So if you want to go and see what I'm seeing, you can see that. Here's a few examples of things that I put on my Twitter account. This one, the importance of surrounding yourself with greenery, spending time in nature, all kinds of benefits. I have been research about that. Or this one, how during deep sleep, that's when the brain starts cleansing itself. That's why so important for us to have deep sleep. This one, how exercise, one of the best ways to improve your mood. This one on how inflammation, which is the source of most diseases, actually decrease dopamine in your brain, your ability to experience pleasure. So let's talk about our topic of today, the good news about cancer. Now, some of you may be saying, but doctor, what's good news about cancer? Well, the good news is that we are not just victims. We can do something either to increase or decrease our risk of cancer. The reality is that cancer numbers are increasing around the world. There is no question about it. And these cancers are worldwide. Just in America, the statistics are not good. You know, 1 out of 2 men are going to end up with cancer. 1 out of 3 females are going to end up with cancer. In fact, out of 4 deaths in America, one of them is usually because of cancer. Now, you may be saying, but doctor, we're not in America. Yes, you're not in America, but we are exporting our lifestyle. You know, last time I was there in Kenya a few months ago, you could see, you know, the Kentucky Fried Chicken, the McDonald's, and you keep naming the fat food store, and it's there already. So if we want to win the battle against cancer, we need to know the signs of cancer, so that if something potential is happening, you know that you need to seek professional help in order to deal with that. And two, it's a good idea to do certain tests that will help us, you know, decrease that risk of cancer. And this is something very important because, you know, at the end of the day, um, the the cancer will continue to devastate many people. But what are we doing to decrease that risk of cancer? What are the choices that you are taking? So by understanding these different factors in cancer, we can understand that we can do something about it. And it's interesting that sometimes the patient is so afraid about cancer that they tell us, look, doctor, don't even mention the word cancer. As if you say the word cancer, you increase the risk. So here are the cancer warning signs. Now, by the way, it doesn't mean you have cancer if you have this, but it means that you're actually, that you need to do something about it. You should go ahead and check this out. So changing bowel or bladder habits, usually used to go to the restroom every day, every week on a regular basis. Now suddenly things start to change, and so forth. You need to go ahead and take care of this. Two, a sore that does not heal. So you have this sore and it's been weeks and weeks and sometimes months, and this is not getting better. You better take a look at it to try to do something about it. Unusual bleeding or discharge, thickening of a breast or elsewhere as you're taking a shower, you feel sleep. This is growing. This is getting smaller. What's lumpy happening in the digestion? Beware. This could be just something temporarily, or this could be something more serious. So don't neglect this. Take a look at it, analyze it, if you need to do something about it, or if it's okay, which is fine. It's always better to play it safe than that rather than ending up with something very serious. Also, if you have uh, a wart or a mole that keeps on growing, that's something not normal. You need to make sure that this is not becoming something take complicated and look and so forth. And you need to keep an eye and see, is this, staying the same size? Is this something that is growing? What's happening, with it? So take care of those issues. Don't neglect them, because again, this type of things is something that can become, take care of it. And then nagging cough or hoarseness, serious. And Cancer Society recommends physical exam, colonoscopy, and this is to take. A simple test. There's a little bit of blood there. It's actually a very unexpensive test. That's something that can make a big difference regarding the prognosis. And for females, SAM and pap smear. Now, by the way, cervical uterine cancer is a sexually transmitted cancer. So if you are, a virgin, you don't need that pap smear. But two or more sexual partners increases tremendously the risk for cervical uterine cancer. Breast exam and so forth. Now, most cancers can can be prevented if we are doing the right lifestyle changes. So we need to know and we need to avoid carcinogens that could potentially be exposing us to cancer risk. And the other strategy that we need to do, we need to focus at improving our immune system. If our immune system is working properly, then things are going to work much better. And the reality is that worldwide, the number one carcinogen happens to be cigarette smoking. And this is something preventable, This is something that we can actually prevent if we are able to encourage people to make those changes. In fact, just in a few days, I'm going to be doing this program to smoking. University students skills how to stop this type of carcinogen. And it has been documented that cigarette smoking is linked with all kinds of medical problems. And if we can start making those changes, we can do so many positive things. So make sure that you encourage anybody that smokes to decrease their uh, cigarette smoking habits. Another very, very common carcinogen is alcohol. See, 75% of all the esophageal cancers are directly related to alcohol. And esophageal cancer is a nasty cancer. See, because the esophagus is an organ that is designed to expand, you can actually have cancer of the esophagus, and the thing just keeps on growing and growing and growing and growing, and you don't even realize you have it. So, not until that cancer has blocked the area of the esophagus, and then you're having troubles, eating and passing things. Many times that's the point at which esophageal cancer is diagnosed, and it's game over because this cancer now has gone to all over the place. Also, 50% of all the mouth cancers, 50% of all the larynx cancers, 30% of all the liver cancers, and those metabolites from the alcohol not only cause issues as you're taking them, they continue to go through your digestive tract, they are absorbed by your body, and they're circulating all over your body, increasing tremendously the risk of cancers. So 11% of all the cancers per year are directly related with alcohol. So the reality is that alcohol is a carcinogen. There's things that are possibly carcinogen, and there's things that are carcinogenic. So you need to be aware of that if you are doing uh, you're exposing yourself to this type of cancers, this is something serious. And this is something that we need to understand, that our choices will have consequences. There's things that we cannot avoid. For example, some people have genetic predisposition to cancers and so forth. I mean, uh, you could decrease the risk epigenetically by making lifestyle choices. But when something like cancer, we're talking about cancer, we can do something about it. Uh, we can start making those changes. Another also very commonly used substance that has been documented that increases the risk of cancer happens to be coffee use. And again, this is not something that too many people are talking about today, yet the risk is there. So we need to be aware of that. So, for example, bladder cancer increases among people that use coffee, and the more coffee you use, the more the risk. In fact, what are the odds of dying of that coffee usage is directly related to how much coffee you're drinking. And the issue is that coffee is a carcinogen, is something that increases the risk of cancer. So you are playing with fire if you are using this type of substance. So beware of that. And not only that, it's not only that type of cancer that has been linked, but also kidney, breast, colon, pancreas, ovary are increased in people that use coffee on a regular basis. Just last week, I was presenting this research. We're working on a full paper about it. And notice here that the results are just fascinating. People that use caffeine more likely to violate their own conscience, more likely to partake of other addictive substances like alcohol and cigarette smoking, more likely to be irregular in their sleeping and eating habits, uh, less likely to adhere to other helpful lifestyle changes, more likely to eat, less fruits and vegetables. So as you can see, it's all kinds of things that are increased on people that are using caffeine. And we were also checking the markers of disease, of mental health, and we were documenting how people that are using caffeine are more likely to have higher levels of depression, higher levels of anxiety. And we know why that happens. That happens due to the fact that we start, to manipulate the blood flow to the brain. And this is another one of my studies. In this study, this one came on an American Heart Association journal, these results that we did. We were showing here that caffeine also has a negative effect at the level of the vitamin B12, and it increases that ultra-sensitive C-reactive protein. And when you increase that, you turn on something that is called inflammation, and most diseases are increased because of that. And you can go there to my Twitter and find this tweet, how caffeine has all kinds of negative effects. But the reality is that people like to hear good news about their bad habits. So usually you're not going to hear about these things in the press, you know. So usually you have to hear, these things on your own and so forth. So watch out for that. Don't be, manipulated by the marketing side of things and so forth. And then also the fact that you're drinking things that are very, very hot, you actually can change some of the cells by exposing yourself to very hot things. So watch out for that. Don't drink things that are excessively hot. That is not good for you. that has also today been classified as something that increases the risk of cancer. So watch out for that. We can choose, what temperature we are using in our beverages and so forth. So try to avoid those extremely hot things. And eating 1 kilogram of um, charcoal grill steak, miemoya is called, as you guys call it there in Kenya. That stuff is equivalent as smoking 600 cigarettes. So to your ugali, don't put this stuff. Put the beans, put the lentils, put the chickpeas. But when you eat this nyamatoma, this charbroil steak, you are literally playing with fire. And this is very well documented in the scientific literature. The more you eat meat, the more your risk of cancer. So people that eat on a daily basis any type of meat, from beef, pork, lamb, 149% increase of risk of colon cancer. 5 to 6 times, 84% increase. 2 to 4, 50% increase. Once a month, even once a month or once a week, increases by 39% your risk of cancer. And your best bet is 0 per month. That is the ideal, that we should be using to decrease our risk of cancer. And watch out for pili pili, as you guys call it down in Kenya. Things that are too spicy could have potential negative effects in the risk of gallbladder cancer. You can eat some spice, but if it is like extremely spicy, that's not good for you. So in this particular paper, they documented that too spicy of food increases by 200% your risk for gallbladder cancer. And then another fascinating thing happened in Japan. So we did a bad deal with Japan. The Japanese send us the cars, which are fantastic cars, and then we send them our food. And that was not a good deal. You can see what happened after that deal. The amount of prostate cancer, a cancer that was literally unknown in Japan, when they started partaking of Western foods, the risk of cancer started increasing tremendously. So this is something that we need to take into consideration, that our choices have consequences. And notice this fascinating study regarding cancer of the skin. If somebody is able to decrease the amount of fat in their diet, the risk of skin cancer decreases. But if you're eating the average Western diet, that increases very much your risk of cancer. And by some reason, some people think that white meat is something fantastic, and that they can eat, with no problem whatsoever, and so forth. And the reality is that it is not so. It also increases your risk of cancer. So notice this fascinating statistics. So white meat less than once a week increases risk of cancer by 55% compared to those that don't eat, white meat at all. And eating white meat more than once a week increases the risk to over 200%. And by some reason, they have programmed us to think that, oh, meat is a wonderful, chicken is a wonderful food and so forth. That's not necessarily what the research is showing. In fact, you can see here how tobacco increases your risk of prostate cancer by 2 times, coffee even a little bit more by 2.2, meat by 2.3, eggs by 3.4. So we need to understand that these things, do have implications and can increase that risk of cancer. Now, this other one is also a very interesting study. So in ecology, there is a concept by the name of biomagnification. So biomagnification is the way that toxins increase in the environment. So for example, if you take the water of a lake and you start trying to measure how much DDD is there. DDD is a cousin of DDT. DDT is banned, but they still continue to use DDT. DDD has 0.02 parts per million. And this is something that is quite low, Now, the microscopic organisms that live in that lake have 5 per million. And please notice how the increase is exponential. The fish that are eating those microscopic organisms have between 40 to 300 parts per million. And the carnivorous fish that eat those herbivorous fish, you can see that that it has increased tremendously now to up to 2,500 parts per million. So the reality is that all that pollution we put on the lakes, in the rivers, in the oceans, sadly comes back to us. And exposing yourself not only to mercury, insecticides, and so forth, all that toxicity and that changing the molecules. Now, notice this fascinating study. We know because of that of biomagnification that the higher you go in the food chain, the higher your risk of cancer and the higher the amounts of toxicity that we're going to find out. So notice this. Vegetarian mothers, when they analyze their amount of DDT in their breast milk, even though DDT has been banned in a while, still quite a bit of it still remains in the environment. Only 8% of them had, some level of DDT in their breast milk. Compare to meat eaters, 99% of them have it. Again, because of that principle of biomagnification, the higher you eat, increase in fruits and vegetables that are grown without pesticides happen to have more flavonoids. And meat and cancer has been very well documented. Increasing risk of colon cancer, cancer, rectal cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, lymphoma, and so forth. Also, watch out. There's certain medications that increase the risk of cancer, such as estrogen. We need to use these hormone supplementations very wisely and very carefully. Progesterone, anabolic steroids, the stuff that many, people that want to grow their muscles use these things. You're playing with fire when you use these things. Corticosteroids, marijuana, many times when you're doing renewal processes and you are taking away things in the wall and so forth, that stuff can come out. You can breathe that and can increase your risk of lung cancer. Wood dust can also be very irritating, and excess in sugar in the diet, as well as that genital powder. This is a big mistake that in the old days was very often. When they would change the diapers of little babies, they would put this genital powder, and now it's very well known that that genital powder can actually increase your risk for cancer. So as you can see, we are not just victims. We can do something about it, and the sooner we start making the changes, the better. Now, there's a second part that we don't have time to talk about it, but the second strategy that we need to do in order to help win the war against cancer is to work at improving our immunity. And that's why we have that new start. As we apply that nutrition, exercise, water, rest, sunlight, trust, and so forth, we are going to be able to improve our immunity. So if there's any questions, now would be the time. They're requesting that you type your questions in the chat. So if anybody has any questions, now will be the time to ask those questions. Anyone? Annie, go ahead and type your question on the chat. On the bottom right, there's a little chat segment. You can go ahead and type your question there. Okay, there's some questions. So best foods to give a cancer patient. Well, I want to avoid things like and I want to give them what I call their rainbow. If you notice, there's foods that are black, Some are purple, some are red, some are rainbow orange, some are yellow, some are white. So each different shade has different phytochemicals. So what I want to do, I want to give that fruit that is abundant, fruits and vegetables that are have these different colors. In that way, I'm going to export and also this person, I mean, with person didn't have time to talk about it, those, but also that could work very phytochemical well for this. There's help a lot of research on that, you know, and for fasting mode, you actually for and whole food plant-based diet. You know, that would be the ideal food for that cancer patient. And how many types of cancer do we have? We have a lot of different cancers. Even, for example, if we say skin cancer, there's a variety of different types of skin cancer. If we say lung cancer, there's many different types of lung cancers and so forth. So what can we do to prevent them? What we were talking about has given you if something is increasing the risk, we'll try to change that behavior. In that way, we start changing the odds about it. Because, you know, in the world that we live in, you know, we have all kinds of issues, and we need to be careful on the choices we're taking, because the reality is that the choices we take have consequences. So, um, should we, you know, not consume anything and so forth? No, there's still some foods that are good for you. You know, Mercy, if you are in Kenya, market there, you have wonderful foods there in Kenya. That skinny wheat, you know, that stuff is good stuff in the farmers. You have old oils. Um, you have this nuts, you have these legumes. So Gladys, you know, a little consultation, she's an excellent nutritionist. Have a good friend of mine. Her name is her number. If you want more information about it, G. I don't get, you know, any money or anything. If you guys go and consult with her, you know, I just know that she's very good, and that's why it's gonna, I recommend be the her. And one that yeah, they're asking if this is going to be recorded. Yes, this will be recorded, and that can help you. With that, so I assume assume when I start rest, so that can increase. That's not the only gene. There's multiple genes that can be inherited. Sometimes they're newly modified genes that because of the world that we live in, you could increase and the possibility of inheriting one of the the risk for those changes of meals in one day. If you ask me for the ideal, 2 meals a day would be the ideal. That's what the research is showing. Being breakfast, your biggest meal, and then having that second meal, also enough for you to be satisfied. And the rule is 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. Relationship on saturated fat and cancer. Yes, definitely. This is something that has been documented very well. And I didn't have time, but also cholesterol. Cholesterol has been linked to increased risk of cancer. Let me put in the chat here an excellent resource. So go to this website, nutritionfacts.org. Somebody I'm co-author with in a nutrition book, Michael Greger, is the one that runs that website, and he has this videos 3 to 5 minutes long, and just search there. Everything is free there in that website. He's not trying to sell you any pills or anything. It's just free health education, and you can ask questions there, and then it'll give you a short little video that will, very clearly show you if you want the details. I don't have time to explain all the pathophysiology, how cancer and saturated fat causes the cancer as it goes in your digestive tract. These substances start encouraging the wrong type of microbiota, and all this is interconnected. So Nawewe, gastric cancer and colon cancer. So we know that animal products increase the risk for colon cancer. Being under too much stress, being somebody that is not eating enough fiber, can increase the risk of colon cancer. Regarding gastric cancer, among the things that can increase that, also too much stress, irregular meals can increase that, not enough sleep, use of caffeine, use of alcohol. So we need regularity for a system to work much better. Sure, that's exactly what we're talking about. Some of those risk factors. You cannot decrease to odds. Can very cold environments cause lung cancer? Not necessarily. Usually the lung cancer is going to be increased by things that we put in our lungs. Watch out, someplace in Kenya where they are cooking with wood and so forth. Not a good idea to be breathing that smoke, smoking or living with somebody that smokes and you're breathing that also can increase that. Asbestos, as we mentioned, also that can increase that. And in certain places where they have a lot of chemicals and things, breathing those chemicals can also increase the risk of lung cancer. And this is a whole topic there about the curative side of cancer. So there's an excellent guide. Give me just 1 second and I'll tell you the link. You can have it. Let me see. It's going to be called Cancer. Okay, it's guide. I'm trying to find you the link so I can put it there for that person that is Dr. Survivors. That's right, survivors. So it's gonna be here. PCR guide, PCRM. here it is. So it's think, and this is an excellent, excellent resource that you guys can use. So there's a link somewhere here. I've seen it. Um, and it talks about the dietary side of things. It's here. So I'm putting you here the link on here. Go ahead and download this guide, and I'll give you some very good ideas there of things that we need to be doing dietary about it. So where do I get all my amino acids? That's an excellent question. So let me just show you this graphic. If you follow my Twitter account, I put about that all the time, information about that. But let me just show you this screen so you can see where you're gonna get all your amino acids. So we have essential amino acids. You know, there's amino acids that we need. If you don't have them, you won't be able to, you know, have a good health. So you can see here, if I share this screen. So here you can see the essential amino acids and where you find them in different types of foods. Look at that, sweet potatoes, how much amino acids it has. Potatoes, brown rice, tomatoes, pumpkin, whole wheat flour, corn, raw oats, white beans, asparagus, broccoli. There is plenty of protein. In fact, the strongest man in the world is a vegan. He lives in Germany from Iranian descent. So yeah, you know, there's plenty of protein there. So what we need to do, uh, we need to ask a different question. Where do I get my fiber? That's the question. Don't worry about the protein. If you're eating whole foods, you're eating plenty of protein there. Worry about fiber. Where are you going to get your fiber? So you need to be eating at least 38 grams of fiber a day. That's how much fiber you are going to need. Should we avoid only refined sugar or unrefined sugar also causes cancer? Doesn't necessarily cause cancer, but it immunosuppresses you, and that's a problem with the sugar. So yes, the least sugar you can eat, the better. Eat the whole foods. Eat the cane sugar plant. That's completely fine. But when I start refining things and getting stuff out of it and concentrating it, that's when I can get myself in trouble. To storing foods in plastic utensils result in estrogen imbalance? If yes, does this result in cancer? Development?